What's up, guys? Simone Fountain 101, and it has been a while since I last did an audio review. As you guys know, I've been catching up on a lot of reviews. I've uploaded a ton of edited reviews, thanks to the magic of Windows Movie Maker. Yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing lately. Next reviews, aside from this one that you'll see, will be my WCPW Fight Back all from the month of June, by the way. The WCPW Fight Back show, the Dominion show, which I'm really excited to see. Another WCPW show, I think it was the Built to Destroy show. It'll be their second one, and the Ring of Honor Best in the World show. So, yeah. But those shows aside, gotta get to this one first. Last night was the Elimination Chamber show from Las Vegas. This is their second Elimination Chamber show with the new chamber structure, the big chamber, the new revamped chamber match. So, let's get it out of the way. Just a quick mini recap. Pre-show was Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson against against the Miz Taraj, Bo Dallas, and Curtis Axel. The Good Brothers, as they're starting to be called now, won. So, there's that. But that was pretty much predictable. Now on to the actual pay-per-view. Pay-per-view itself, I mean, it was an okay show. Okay, there was some good stuff on it, but there was also some bad. And so just some stuff that, does like get you the wrong way. Now hilariously enough, the show opened with what I thought would have been the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. It opened up with the Women's Elimination Chamber match. It was Alexa Bliss defending her Raw Women's Championship against Bayley, Sasha Banks, Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, and Mickie James. And the two people that started this match were not Mandy Rose, were Sonya Deville and Bayley. Yeah, it was Bayley. Sonya Deville and Bayley opened up the show. Open up the match, I should say. I thought it was good, but you could tell things were a little bit slow. I mean, not a bad kind of slow, but, it should have gone a little bit faster. Both of them trying to go back and forth. 5 minutes in, of course, every 5 minutes, another person comes in. Mandy Rose came out, so Absolution, or the two remaining members of Absolution, I should say, now that Paige is pretty much retired, gang up on Bayley. Bayley fought back for a while, a lot longer than I thought she would. I thought she would fight back for like a few seconds and then get the crap kicked out of her. She actually fought back for at least a minute or two. And until Sonya Deville took her down with a pretty sick looking spear on the outside the ring on the mat. Remember, it's no longer the steel. It's no longer steel on the ground. It's just it's padded down with mats. So yeah. And they pretty much worked over Bayley. And like idiots, and I will say, if there was anything I was really disappointed of in this match, it would be the performances of Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose. As far as I'm concerned, those two were just simply bodies in the chamber match to be pinned, which is exactly what happened. They were the first two eliminated. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Instead of trying to get the pin on Bayley, they instead basically locked her hands in the chains right around, putting her hand like in the holes of the chains and and just placing it there, only to beat on Bayley instead of going for the pin. Idiots these two are. They must be. They must be stupid. So, and of course they're mocking pretty much everybody in their pods. Yeah, they're heels, I get it. But again, it made them look dumb. Maybe that was the point, I don't know. All I know is that Sasha Banks came out next. She was the next one out of her pod. And beat on both women. Came to the aid of Bayley for a little bit. She beat on Mandy Rose. She beat on Sonya Deville. Mandy Rose hit a move. She hit her with a face buster. She was going to go for her finisher, which I think is like a variation of Awesome Kong's implant buster. But Bayley. Sasha Banks countered and got her with the bank statement and tapped her out. Out next was Mickie James, who was a house of fire on everybody. And for the time that she was in this match, Mickie James looked pretty good. Look, I know they're trying to focus on the younger women, but give Mickie James a token title run. That's what I say. Give her a token title run. Especially after how she eliminated Sonya Deville. Basically what happened is, Mickie James went up top. She, after getting Sasha and Bayley off her back, including a sick-looking kick to Sasha's face, it was like it wasn't a super kick like the announcer said, but she delivered a kick right to Sasha's head. It was sick. Maybe it was because you heard the thud. But she went on top of one of the pods. I think it was actually Sasha's pod she went on top of. She went on top of the pod, and she then hit the giant Luthez press from the top of the pod onto Sonya Deville and eliminated her. That was actually pretty cool. Then she turned her attention onto Alexa Bliss, who had yet to enter the match. And I did like, it was a little bit distracting after a while, but I did like how the camera focused in on Alexa's face, like the worry on her face. And Mickie James like turned her attention to Alexa Bliss, just basically chomping at the bit for her to come out. This distracted her. Sasha went in for the attack. Bayley got out of the way. Mickie James got out of the way. We basically, what happened was Mickie James got hit with the bank statement, and I mean the double knees part of the bank statement, because remember, Sasha does the double knees and then into the crossface. She hit the double knees on Mickie James into a Bayley to belly suplex from Bayley, and Mickie James was gone. Gonna say it, personally, I was a little let down at the fact that they allowed they allowed Mickie James to leave the chamber match that early. She was only in there for maybe a few minutes. Then again, knowing Vince McMahon, she's like, she's old, we gotta get her out of there pretty soon. Even though she's not old. She's not that old. Tamina is older than her. Then again, I guess Tamina's Samoan, so it's different. Anyway, then again, Bayley and Sasha were chomping at the bit for Alexa to get out. When it was time for Alexa to get out, she closed the pod door. Sasha and Bayley tried to get in. Alexa escaped from the other side. And for the next several minutes, Bayley, Alexa was, not several minutes either, but for the next minute, she was climbing up on the chain, climbing up in one of the pods, I think it was her own pod, escaped on the chain, just basically trying to get away from both Bayley and Sasha. This ended up on her pod, not her pod, I think it was of Mandy Rose. But basically she ended up on one of the pods. Sasha caught her, beat on her for a brief second, and I love this spot, by the way. She extended her arm to Bayley, who was on the other side of the pod. Because Alexa and Sasha came from one side, Bayley was on the other. She extended her hand to Bayley to lift her up, and only to kick her right in the face, and Bayley fell. Bayley is an idiot. I mean, from her Royal Rumble elimination to her being betrayed here, quote unquote, it's every woman for herself. Bayley is a complete idiot. And now I was talking to Lundrick yesterday. We were watching the pay-per-view live, and we were talking to each other on Twitter, and I gotta agree with what he said. There is very few people who care about Bayley, and it's no secret why. They portrayed the character like she's an idiot. She's nice, she's a good wrestler, but she's stupid. That's how they portrayed her since she came to the main roster. I mean, it's just ridiculous how they booked this woman to make her look foolish. They made her look foolish in the Rumble match. They made her look foolish here. Hell, they've made her look foolish last year when she didn't go to the point where she should have to beat Alexa Bliss for the championship at Extreme Rules. Remember that kendo stick in a pole match? Made her look foolish there. Yeah, I'd say the Bayley character is dead as shit. Unless there's like a heel turn coming. And I heard there's from commentary that, Sasha Banks betrayed Bayley. It's every woman for herself. And if there is a feud that's going to go forward between Sasha Banks and Bayley, as far as I'm concerned, Bayley is the heel and Sasha is the face. So it was those last three people for a little while. Bayley at one point hit the Bayley to belly suplex from off the middle rope. Sasha was on the top, she was on the middle. She hit the Bayley to belly. But before she could get the pin, Alexa rolled her up for a pinfall. Bayley was eliminated. We came down to Alexa and Sasha. We came down to Alexa and Sasha. Bliss she went for a twisted Bliss off the top rope. Sasha Banks got the knees up. Banks tried attacking Alexa. At one point she was sent to the outside. Alexa went on top one of the pods. She hit the twisted Bliss off the pod and onto Sasha Banks. And here, this admittedly, if there's any part of the match that I said was just bullshit, it was this part. Alexa Bliss hit her finish from on top of the pod. Alexa, she hit the Twisted Bliss from a great height, almost moonsault like. Not exactly, but almost. All of a sudden, after like a quick 2 to 3 second delay, Sasha Banks counters with the bank statement, the cross-face bank statement. I said a second ago, Bayley's dead. I take it back. Alexa's finishing move, one of them at least, is dead. That was, to me, a complete no-sell of Alexa's finish. That, honestly, should be the finish of a match. And it wasn't. Or at least eliminate somebody with that. I mean, I thought it was stupid. I don't know about you guys, but I thought that was dumb. Banks with the bank statement on rolled rolled Alexa into the ring. Alexa, when she was in the middle of her roll, Alexa got out of the bank statement. Banks was trying to climb up to the ropes at some point. This is the finish. Blanks. Sasha Banks tried to climb up to the top of the rope. Alexa pushed Sasha's head into one of the pods, and then hit a draping DDT from the top rope for the win. As far as a first ever women's Elimination Chamber match, I thought it was a good match. Not great, but it was certainly not bad. There was just some things about it that it felt weird. First of all, Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose's performance, not that they were bad, but it was clear that, but first of all, not pinning Bayley when they had the chance, bad decision, and I just felt that for the most part they were just simply bodies in the ring. Then again, they probably didn't have anybody else, and really it's WWE's fault more than anything else. I mean, what were they gonna do? Were they gonna put freaking Alicia Fox, who's injured right now? Personally, I would have had Sonya Deville, kept her in there, and I would have replaced Mandy Rose with Nia Jax. Now, you could say that might be a little bit mean, but honestly, even though it was good later on, I had no use for Asuka against Nia. I'll explain later. So this was a good match. Had problems though. So yeah, Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose being basically bodies in the match. Sasha no-selling the Twisted Bliss from top of the pod. There were a couple issues, but for the most part, I thought it was a good match. Mickey tried at the time she had. Sasha and Bayley, for the most part, carried this match, and that is not a bad combo for them to carry. So, with that said, it was a good match. That's all I can say. It was a good match. Alexa Bliss, after the match, cut a babyface promo. She was saying how little girls should, when she was a little girl and stuff, and how they should strive to hit their dreams. This reminded me of the Sasha Banks promos she used to cut, like, every single week, like 2 years ago, when she was feuding with Charlotte. Remember that? Remember when she would do that? Yeah. And then, of course, she turned on the crowd, because at one point the crowd was saying, "You deserve it." She turned on the crowd, and said that none of the people in Vegas would ever achieve their dreams. That was awesome. Next up was the Raw Tag Team Championship match between The Bar and Titus Worldwide, which is the team of Apollo, and of course the aptly named Titus O'Neil. I thought this match was okay. That's all it was. Now, a part of that, as I learned earlier this morning, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I didn't do this review last night, or else I would never have known this. Cesaro at one point hurt his leg, his foot. I don't know what happened there, but early on in the match, Apollo on top of the turnbuckle went for a dive onto Cesaro and Sheamus, who were on the outside. Now, when the dive hit, something happened. Cesaro's foot, his right foot, I think, either his leg or his right foot, something happened and he got hurt. And you could tell that Cesaro was not himself for most of this match. In fact, I've read on reviews early reviews, like Cesaro was selling his right leg. That's because his right leg was legitimately hurt. What kind of injury it was, I don't know. Hopefully, he just simply rolled the leg or something like that, or sprained it, and shit happens. I hope it's not a serious injury where we have to take a significant amount of time out. Cesaro, he You know, Cesaro just didn't have enough pep in his step. He just wasn't as should I say, he did not have as much agility as he usually does. Which is probably part of why this match slowly but surely went downhill. You know, after a nice little start, they worked heat on Apollo for the longest friggin' time. Cesaro kept on holding him back. Sheamus kept on holding him back. Then it was just... this was your basic Raw match. That, on pay-per-view, that is never a good thing. This was your basic Raw match. At one point, Apollo finally got the tag. Titus came in for the quote hot tag. Yes, Titus, not Apollo, which it should be Titus because, you know, Apollo's the guy they're trying to get over in this pairing. At least I think so. So Titus came in, was a little bit of a house of fire. Apollo eventually got tagged back in. It was Apollo and Sheamus who were the legal men. At this point, the match was starting to pick up a little bit. You know, after the Titus came in, there was a little bit of a, you know, a little bit more fire. Then Apollo came back in. Hit yet another dive. Hit a high cross body on Sheamus for the 2. Sheamus countered with a standing moonsault. Countered the standing moonsault with knees. At one point, I forgot to mention this earlier, Sheamus went up top, went for like a clubbing blow from the top rope, ran into a clash of the Titus. So Sheamus should not be doing stuff from the top rope often. But down now to the finish. Apollo's in. Sheamus countered the standing moonsault with the knees. Cesaro posted Titus. Chop blocked Apollo, which didn't look that strong, considering how he got legitimately hurt. I totally get it. And hit the double team white noise when Cesaro went for a springboard. Again, his springboard not as strong as it usually is. I thought this match was okay. It wasn't horrible. But due to Cesaro's brief foot injury, hopefully it's brief, it just didn't get the kind of reaction it should have. And that's not a knock on any of the guys in the ring. Shit just happens. It's probably why the match wasn't as good as it could have been. I mean, yeah, Titus is in there, but with Apollo, Sheamus, and Cesaro, should have been better. It wasn't. I think the foot injury had a lot to do with that. But to me, it was just a basic Raw match. And, yeah, something else I gotta briefly bring up. I don't even think they pinned Apollo. I'm pretty sure Apollo was not the legal man. Titus was. Titus didn't get the tag in. He just got in. He just interjected himself into the match after he tagged out. But Titus didn't tag Apollo in. So, by definition, they pinned the wrong man. Unless they completely ignore it, which they probably will, this will lead to a rematch later on. Will it actually do that? Probably not. They'll just ignore it, say, hey, they pinned the wrong man, but who cares? Let's continue on. The tag team division right now in Raw is dead. You got The Bar, who's a good team, but look who they got. You got Titus Worldwide, The Revival, and the Good Brothers, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. That's all you've got. What are you going to do? Feud them with the Miz Taraj, Bo Dallas, and Curtis Axel? They're heels. The Revival, as good as they are, they're heels. And their momentum was killed last year after both of them got hurt at different points. The Revival are heels. Gallows and Anderson, they could be feuding with them, but I don't think so. I don't see WrestleMania Raw Tag Team Championship match with The Bar. And I see that being the Usos this year. And if it's not, then that's a shame because the Usos have been a part of... They're like the WrestleMania pre-show matches. The exception of maybe one. which I think was a dark match. They've been on every single WrestleMania pre-show going back to WrestleMania 30. That to me is ridiculous. And usually they were one of the best matches of the show. Anyway, next match. Before I blow my head here. Asuka versus Nia Jax. I thought it was a good match. But it could have gone longer. They had better matches than NXT. This was a good match. There was a point that, and not too many spots really to bring up. Nia Jax at one point tried to do like a rolling senton, not a rolling senton, but like basically like a rolling senton in the middle of the ring on Asuka. Asuka got out of the way, but Nia landed right on Asuka's right knee. And it looked like she got a little bit banged up there because she was holding that knee for a little bit. And they didn't work on the knee, which means that it probably was not supposed to happen. She probably did get legitimately banged up there for a second. At one point, Asuka went for the jumping arm breaker move, which was awesome. It is awesome the way she does it. Then you had, sorry about that. Kind of woke up early. At one point, Nia Jax was on the middle rope. She had Asuka up for probably a Samoan drop. Asuka went for the power bomb, the sunset flip power bomb. That didn't work. She got put into her place right on the mat. Nia Jax went for the old bonsai drop, Yokozuna style. She missed and landed right on her ass. And I think Asuka followed that up with a kick right to the head. The ending of the match, Nia Jax posted herself. Asuka locked in the arm bar. Jax powered out of it and like slammed Asuka to the corner, like almost powerbomb like. Jax decided to talk shit, which was bad, because Asuka got her with a cradle for the win. It was like she got her like up on her shoulders, and Asuka got the surprise cradle, the surprise roll up for the pin, and it was a good. I thought that was it. I thought it was a good match. It was nothing great. It was nothing even really good. Not on par with their NXT matches. But I thought it was a good match. Yeah. That's all I got to say about the match itself. Post-match, Nia Jax, to show her sportsmanship, attacked Asuka, sent her to the floor, and speared Asuka right through the barricade, in which the barricade exploded, it looked like. I mean, my lord, that barricade looked down. Alexa Bliss was watching the match backstage, and after the match was over and the post-match attack, she was happy that Nia Jax beat down Asuka, and that, quote, no one is ready for Alexa. I think look, I still hope that Asuka jumps ship to SmackDown and faces Charlotte for the championship. That's the match I want to see. Because they've got nothing for Charlotte leading into WrestleMania. They've at least got this little something between Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss. Charlotte's got nothing. So I think I still think Asuka's going to SmackDown. She's going to face Charlotte. And basically just send a giant FU to Stephanie McMahon by doing that. With Alexa, I get the feeling that she's going to face Nia for the championship at WrestleMania. But if Asuka, the way they put over Nia Jax here, they wanted to keep her strong, and I get that. But at the cost of making Asuka look a tad weak, I will say. But if Asuka is going to face Alexa Bliss at WrestleMania, please, for the love of God, do not involve Nia Jax. just for the sake of it. I said this to Lundrick last night. After that post-match attack, I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if, because of the post-match attack, they said, you're added to the championship, making it a 3-way match. Hell, if they did that, that would actually be the great impetus for Asuka to tell Kurt Angle or Stephanie McMahon to fuck right off and go right to SmackDown to face Charlotte. If that's what ends up happening, I would have no problem with it whatsoever. But if it's a 3-way at WrestleMania, I'd be so pissed, because last year, Nia Jax was involved in another multi-women match, which did not need to involve Nia in any way, shape, or form. Last year, it was Bayley, Nia, Charlotte, and Sasha. Nia did not need to be a part of that, which really showed, because she was eliminated in like the first 3 or 4 minutes. Like the equivalent of Big Show being eliminated from the McMahon in every corner 4-way match at WrestleMania 2000 or WrestleMania 16. Next up, Woken Matt Hardy against Bray Wyatt. Matt Hardy came out first. Wyatt, the lights went out. And Wyatt appeared in the ring. Matt was gone. The only thing that was left was his jacket. Matt was somewhere on the outside. He was singing the obsolete song. I totally thought that was a tease for Jeff Hardy to return in this match. Hell, I wouldn't have minded if it was Jeff Hardy and Bray Wyatt, but guess we don't get what we want. But he was singing the obsolete song. You know, fade away and classify myself as obsolete. Wyatt was running around like an idiot trying to find him. Looked over on the announce table, looked over at the timekeeper's area, even looked under the ring. All of a sudden, Matt appeared from up top the steps. He was probably in the crowd and beat on Bray Wyatt. This match, well, I'm going to say it right now. This match, by the end of the day, it'll go down as a bad match. This match was not good at all. It was easily the worst thing on the whole show. And to be quite honest, it's not Matt Hardy's fault. And it's not Bray Wyatt's fault. Part of the reason why the match sucked was the crowd. Admittedly, the crowd played a part in this match. They were chanting for beach balls. They were chanting for Rusev Day. Basically, they were chanting for anything but the match. And it really, really showed on TV. And I'm just like, really? Look, on one hand, I can't blame the crowd. I can blame the crowd, I mean, because part of the why this match sucked was because of the crowd. But, you know, if I blame the fans, I'd be ignoring a much larger problem. This is on WWE, and how they've booked this entire feud. This is the second feud in a row involving Bray Wyatt that I'm sick to death of, and I couldn't wait for it to be over. The first one was with Finn Balor. Thank Lord the Mumps attacked Bray Wyatt, and instead of Sister Abigail, Bray Wyatt dressed in drag against Finn Balor, we got the Demon Finn Balor against AJ Styles at TLC, which as it turned out was one of the best matches of the year. So thank Lord for that. But yeah, Balor was only number 1. Number 2, Matt Hardy. This Woken Matt Hardy, Bray Wyatt thing, it's not working at all. And speaking of Matt Hardy, I thought Matt Hardy would at least get some level of creative control. Maybe he does. Maybe he does have some level of creative control. But it's completely watered down from what it used to be in TNA. In TNA, Matt Hardy had 100% creative control of the Broken Universe. Now, of course, he'd have suggestions from Jeff Hardy, Reby Sky, Jeremy Borash. You know, he would have backup. He would have people to influence him. But everything was Matt Hardy's decision. Matt Hardy clearly gave up some level of creative control with this character now that he's doing it in WWE. Just to get the match out of the way, Bray Wyatt hit a sick Uranage. on Matt Hardy. And I'll give Bray Wyatt this. He's got a awesome looking Uranage. The way he does it is just so awesome. He did it after countering a Twist of Fate. Wyatt, after the Rusev Day chant, he went to the ropes. He missed a senton. He countered the Twist of Fate and went for Sister Abigail. Took too long, and Matt Hardy hit the Twist of Fate finally for the win. At least I could say Matt Hardy got the win. I'll say that. Matt Hardy needed to win. Or if not, this Woken character would have been dead. Bray Wyatt is dead, which is an indictment on WWE and also an indictment on Bray Wyatt. Look at last year. Bray Wyatt was in the best chamber match in years. He was in the best chamber match in a long time. He won the WWE Championship in the main event. Now here he is, jobbing out to Woken Matt Hardy in a boring-ass feud. And hopefully, this spells the end of this rivalry, because I'm sick to death of it. and going back to Matt Hardy, Vince clearly has a level of creative control. Vince probably took a few looks at the broken character, and basically puts the catchphrases on TV, not realizing exactly what made the character work was entirely of Matt Hardy's doing. Instead, you have a 72-year-old man who's clearly out of his mind, and he probably doesn't see exactly what made it work. He's 72 years old. Maybe he actually doesn't see. Maybe he really is blind. I don't know. Look, I want to see a Hardy compound match. Knowing WWE, it's probably not going to happen. Or if it is, it's going to be very watered down from what it's supposed to be, like it was in TNA. Out next was the Ronda Rousey contract signing segment. They put the segment on Elimination Chamber to get increase the ticket sales for the pay-per-view. That's the only. So don't be fooled. They didn't do it to make it a better show. They did it because their ticket sales were doing jack shit. And even after Rousey was announced as being part of the pay-per-view, guess what? Ticket sales didn't go up that much. Clearly, these people just didn't care. Kurt Angle came out with the contract. Triple H and Stephanie then came out. They were all smiles. They shook their hands with Kurt Angle. They put over Ronda Rousey. Triple H said that, she's one of the greatest athletes in the world. I think Tom Brady would have something to say about that, considering the guy is I think the guy is 40 and is still playing football like he's in his 20s. He ran down her accomplishments. And then out came Ronda Rousey. Now, before I continue, I do have to say this. I understand why she does it. But her nickname, I should say, they're calling her Rowdy Ronda Rousey. I'm sorry. Look, all due respect to the Hot Rod. I love Roddy Piper. But, that's not a good nickname for her. You can call her the Rowdy one, or something like that. Rowdy Ronda Rousey does not have a good ring to it. Rowdy Roddy Piper, that had a good ring. You say it, and then you just know it's like, yeah, I'm not going to say it like that. But Vince is going to force it on the people. So, fuck us, I guess. She came out, thank Lord, wearing a jacket that actually fit her, instead of a jacket that made her look like she was a 13-year-old. She came out, her promo. Gonna be quite honest, her promo sucked. Ronda Rousey, from what I know, and from what little I've seen of her in UFC, was never a good mic talker. She was always good with her facial expressions and her demeanor. She was never good at talking. Which is why she needs a manager. Paul Heyman would actually be a great manager for her, I gotta say. Someone else. Jim Cornette, I don't know. but she can't do promos on her own. That's been clear as day. So she said Roddy Piper was her inspiration. She wants to make him proud and wants to earn the respect of the fans. It was clear that she was very uncomfortable talking here. She was shaky. Her promo was shaky. And not so much the words that she used. It's just that her performance was shaky. Her promo, her voice was like a little bit out of place. And she stuttered here and there. Like a kid with stage fright. She's not used to performing in front of a live crowd like WWE does compared to UFC. UFC does not do live crowds like WWE. I'll give them that. Triple H made sure she knows what kind of contract she's signing. Rousey said that she doesn't want to be treated special. She doesn't want to ride in limousines or wrestle 3 or 4 times a year like Brock Lesnar or just be a part-time worker. She wants to be regular just like everybody else, which I find hilarious considering who she is. They're totally going to treat her like she's a part-timer. And if they don't, I'd be surprised. I'll be the first to say I was wrong if they treat her like a full-timer and not a part-timer. She's about to sign. She looked at Kurt and says, because Kurt and Triple H are talking to the side, and Rousey sees this and asks if Angle wants to say anything. Angle, briefly puts over Triple H and Stephanie for bring her in, but all but says that Triple H and Stephanie still hold a grudge on her for what she I gotta say this, for what she did to them at WrestleMania 21. He did immediately correct himself and say WrestleMania 31, but yeah, WrestleMania 21. I mean, well, if there's any WrestleMania that he should remember, it's the match where he wrestled and beat Shawn Michaels. Yeah, I guess for that reason, he should be referencing WrestleMania 21, but he clearly screwed up here. Kurt Angle immediately corrected himself, basically said Triple H and Stephanie still have a grudge against her for embarrassing them along with The Rock. She and The Rock embarrassed them at WrestleMania 31. The Rock, sorry about that. The Rock was there with them in the arena. Angle tries to stir the pot. Triple H said this is all about Ronda Rousey. She looks a little bit pissed. Triple H said that Angle was sick. He was in the hospital. He has the flu. He's got no idea what he's talking about, which, now to be fair, flu sucks. So, he's not wrong when I say that. He tries to get him out of the arena, out of the ring area at least. Stephanie kisses up to Ronda Rousey saying that, yeah, what you did to us, it did make us hate you for a little bit, but it also opened their eyes to exactly what she could do in a ring. Rousey's about to sign the contract. Then, from the aisleway, Kurt basically snitches on I almost forgot to mention, Kurt also said earlier in the ring, it's like when she signs, we'll own this bitch. And in the middle of saying bitch, that's when Triple H stopped him. Then, he once again, from the aisleway, says that Stephanie in the office earlier called Ronda Rousey a has-been and could beat Ronda Rousey anytime. That's when Triple H pretty much sends him to the back. Ronda gets all up in Stephanie's face. Triple H arrives to try to mediate things. Gets Stephanie to the outside. Goes back in to, I guess, talk with Rousey or confront her. Rousey picks him up in like a suplex position, like a back suplex. Puts him through the contract signing table. Stephanie comes in, slaps Ronda Rousey. That didn't take long. I knew they were going to slap Ronda Rousey at some point. I hoped it wouldn't be that night, but I guess it was. Rousey looked back at her, with the death glare, I'll say. Stephanie, in her mind, was probably saying, oh shit, and got out of Dodge. And Ronda Rousey walked away. She signed, but not before signing the contract. They did say earlier in the promo that Ronda Rousey will have a match at WrestleMania. And I think they pretty much cemented what it's going to be here. It's going to be Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle against Triple H and Stephanie. You know, good, aside from the little flub from Kurt Angle, good from Angle, good stuff from Angle, good from Triple H, good from Stephanie, bad from Ronda Rousey. And it has nothing to do with her words, it has everything to do with just her delivery. Her delivery sucked. She's really got to work on her promo skills. She's not the kind of person who should be talking a lot. She's the kind of person who should have a manager. She'd be perfect for Paul Heyman. So yeah, there's that. That was basically it. Next up, we had Elias singing a tune from Inside the Chamber match. It was the main event. It was the #1 contendership for the Universal Championship against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 34. John Cena, Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, Elias, The Miz, Finn Balor, and Seth Rollins. The first ever 7-man Elimination Chamber match. Miz, Balor, and Rollins started off the match. Miz apparently tried to make alliances early. He got shut down. It was a slow start, admittedly. It was admittedly a slow start to the match, and I thought it was going to be a lot faster. Out came Cena, who talked shit with Rollins, and they shoved each other back and forth, and then they hit their big hits. He went for his proto bomb, his suplex, and then hit a double 5-knuckle shuffle on the Miz and Seth Rollins. Finn Balor came back in the not Finn Balor, Finn Balor. Finn Balor came back in the picture. Balor, doing pretty good here. Out next came Roman Reigns, who did some moves, did his flying clotheslines things. He did his uppercuts, which, by the way, not that it doesn't look cool, but I'm sick to death of Roman Reigns using those uppercuts as his only punch. He throws some regular punches. Stop throwing the uppercuts. Number 6, after a setup powerbomb to the Miz by Roman Reigns. Out next came Braun Strowman, and you pretty much know what happened. He destroyed everybody. He killed Rollins. He killed Miz as he was trying to run away from him. Miz ran, climbed up top one of the pods, and tried to hide up there. All of a sudden, I love this camera angle they got. He climbed up on the pod. All of a sudden, camera angle switch. Braun Strowman is literally right behind him. That is frightening. That a man that big could climb and be as fast as he is. That is ridiculous. He belted Miz's face against the plastic part of the chamber, and then threw him on top of the others in the ring. He came back down, got the Miz with a power slam, and beat him. Elias was out next. Strowman was waiting for him to come out. Elias, in his mind, probably said, fuck that, and closed his pod door. Then the other 4 came in to attack him, hit a shield powerbomb, with Reigns and Cena hitting the powerbomb, and Balor and Rollins getting him up for the powerbomb. They hit the powerbomb. All 4 people dogpiled on Strowman to pin him, and he kicked out at 2. Cena hit it. Attitude adjustment. Braun kicked out at 1. Spear by Reigns. He kicked out. Blackout, the curb stomp, whatever. Curb stomp by Seth Rollins, and the double foot stomp by Balor followed after Strowman went to the outside. It broke down, and eventually everyone was on the floor, or I should say on the ground. They were down. Elias came in, covered everybody. At one point, he hit the set-out powerbomb on Reigns. He missed a charge and posted himself in the ring post. Elias went for the set-out powerbomb by putting him up on his shoulders, and because what he does, he puts them up on his shoulders, switches their body, and then powerbombs them. He was going to do the same thing with Braun. Clearly, that didn't work. Braun just simply sat on top of him briefly, hit him with a power slam, and got the and pinned him. Braun then went for a power slam on Reigns. He escaped. Everyone, people joined in on the attack. Braun caught Cena when Cena went for a diving crossbody on Braun Strowman and hit a power slam on Cena and pinned him. And by the way, gotta mention this. The story is that they've been building that John Cena has to make it to WrestleMania. He does not see himself on a road to WrestleMania. Are you fucking kidding me? John Cena, you're really gonna try to make us believe that John Cena will be left off the WrestleMania card? Fuck you! I know, anybody who's watched this show for at least a year will know that this guy will always be on the WrestleMania card. He'll always find a way, because he's John Cena. He has to be on the card. Even if it is in a mixed tag match, intergender tag match like last year. Well, I'll say this, John. There's always the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Braun Strowman continued his domination. Balor started attacking him. Balor went up top, hit the double foot stomp on the back of on Braun's back as he was getting up. Braun kicked out. Rollins and Balor brawled. Balor hit the 1916 on Rollins for a near fall. Got a sling blade on Reigns. Went for a double foot stomp on Roman Reigns. Had him dead to rights until Braun Strowman came in, power slammed him, and eliminated Balor. That is the fourth man that he's eliminated, which is a record, and he would go on to break record minutes later. It was down to Rollins, Strowman, and Reigns. Reigns and Rollins worked together to attack Braun. They slammed him into the chamber, the steel guardrail, steel chains a few times. But then Rollins attacked Reigns, got him with a super kick, but missed the stomp. He did get a buckle bomb on him. Reigns rebounded with a Superman punch. Their fight didn't last long as Braun got up, grabbed he grabbed Rollins. Rollins attacked. He got Braun Strowman. Reigns did, I should say. Got Braun Strowman a Samoan drop on the floor, and Strowman rolled back in the ring. Seth Rollins was the top on one of the pods. He hit a gigantic frog splash from the top of the pod onto Braun Strowman. Strowman kicked out at 2. Rollins and Reigns then looked for the a variation of Shield Powerbomb. Braun fought out of it. He dropkicked Reigns like a madman. Rollins went for it. Rollins got a super kick, and I think went for another curb stomp, a curb stomp. But Braun then got him up for the power slam and eliminated Rollins. We're now down to Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns. They traded off strikes. Roman got the upper hand, escaped the power bomb. He dove over the ropes on Braun, and by the way, earlier before they started attacking each other, Braun took off his shirt, which basically meant he meant business now. Said, "Get these hands," which was awesome. And by the way, that's his new catchphrase, "Get these hands." Even the crowd chanted that. Crowd loves Braun Strowman. Strowman charged Reigns, crashed into the pod. It was when Reigns sidestepped him. Hit him with several Superman punches. Reigns hit a spear. or should I say went for the spear, was Strowman was going to get the power slam, went for another Superman punch, did Reigns, spear to Strowman, Strowman got back up, then another spear, and Braun Strowman lost the match. Now, before I continue with the match, I gotta say this. After the match, Roman Reigns looked up at the WrestleMania sign like an idiot and got what he had coming to him. Strowman attacked him, hit 2 power slams on the guy, and then threw him through one of the pods. I only have one question. If they were going to do that, why did you have Strowman lose? I mean, I know why. Because, Vince McMahon has it in his head. Reigns versus Lesnar. WrestleMania 34. He's got it in his head. But Braun Strowman, as strong as he is, and as strong as they booked him in this match, you couldn't just let him win? I mean, yeah. He got hit with a ton of finishers and a ton of moves that would have finished off any other guy. But it would have been okay if, just say, Roman celebrated in the ring and ended the pay-per-view. Instead, Braun Strowman attacked him, laid him out with 2 power slams, threw him into one of the pods, and then walked away. And by the way, the pay-per-view didn't end with the Roman Reigns theme song. It ended with Braun Strowman's music. Why didn't they just have Strowman win here? Why? If they were going to book Strowman as strong as they did after the match as well as during the match, Strowman should have won the match. I mean, the crowd loves Strowman. Look at the reactions this guy is getting. The crowd loves him. Because what he does is so easy. He wrecks shit, and it's fun. Now, I will say, if there was anything slightly disappointing in this match, I was expecting a spot where Strowman hit a power slam through one of the steel walls of the chamber, and the wall would fall down. Kind of like what he did the Big Show last year in the cage match. But aside from that, Strowman looked awesome here. This was a great match. Not one of the best chamber matches of all time. The one last year was still better than this one. But this was still a great match. There was a lot of fun. Braun running wild and getting the record for 5 straight eliminations was awesome. So, with that said, a decent show, but a show marred by booking. Even with 3 good matches on it, the show was marred by booking that did not help at all. So that's, as well as the Ronda Rousey contract signing, her promo, not good whatsoever. The fucked up story with Woken Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. The Who Gives a Shit match with Titus Worldwide and Apollo. And the Bar. So there were some bad booking decisions throughout. Even so, I'll give it a thumbs up, but like a slight thumbs up. Maybe a 6 out of 10. So with that said, guys, see you next time with back to my edited reviews. Next time it should be Fight Back and Dominion. And I'll see you next time, guys, with the next audio review. Until then, peace.